Ryan Reynolds, the beloved Hollywood star and co-owner of Wrexham AFC, has suddenly found himself at the center of a massive scandal. What started as a legal battle between his wife Blake Lively and actor-director Justin Baldoni has spiraled into a full-blown media frenzy, one that could change everything for Ryan. From shocking accusations to leaked messages, the drama is unfolding fast. But how did Ryan get caught in the crossfire? Let's dive in. Ryan Reynolds and Wrexham, the perfect Hollywood illusion. Ryan Reynolds has always been more than just a movie star. He's a brand, a businessman, and, until recently, one of the most beloved celebrity figures in the world. His unexpected purchase of Wrexham AFC alongside Rob McElhenney was initially seen as a fairy tale moment, where two Hollywood stars stepped in to revive a struggling football club. Fans were captivated by their journey, especially after the hit docuseries Welcome to Wrexham showcased their passion, dedication, and hands-on involvement with the club. Ryan was everywhere, cheering from the stands, interacting with players, and using his massive social media presence to promote Wrexham at every opportunity. To many, he wasn't just an owner, he was the heart of the club. But behind the scenes, things were not as picture-perfect as they seemed. Recent events have shattered the illusion that Ryan was fully committed to Wrexham. Rumors surfaced that he was quietly exploring ownership stakes in another club, the MLS's Vancouver Whitecaps, his hometown team. For Wrexham supporters, this felt like a betrayal. They had embraced Ryan as one of their own, believing his passion for the club was genuine. The idea that he might shift his focus elsewhere raised concerns about Wrexham's future. Would they continue their remarkable rise through the English football pyramid? Or was this just another Hollywood project for Ryan, one that had now served its purpose? The backlash from fans was swift and unforgiving. Many began questioning whether Ryan's involvement was more about PR than true football passion. After all, his ownership of Wrexham had not only boosted the club, but also strengthened his own public image, making him even more marketable in Hollywood. Things took an even darker turn when news broke that Ryan had been quietly removed from Wrexham's ownership structure. While the club initially downplayed the situation, insisting that everything was fine, insiders suggested otherwise. According to reports, tensions had been brewing for months. Ryan's increasing involvement in other projects, including his rumored MLS ambitions and his growing business ventures, had created friction behind the scenes. Some speculated that his high-profile legal entanglement through Blake Lively's controversy had made him a liability for the club, especially as Wrexham continued to attract global attention. If Ryan was indeed losing his grip on Wrexham, it wasn't just his football credibility that was on the line. It was his entire public image. But was Ryan's downfall purely a result of his own decisions, or was there something or someone else pulling the strings? The answer, it seems, lies in the chaos surrounding his wife, Blake Lively, and her explosive battle with Justin Baldoni. Blake versus Justin, the claims that shook Hollywood. At first glance, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's collaboration on It Ends With Us seemed like a dream pairing. The highly anticipated adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel had fans buzzing, and with Blake in the lead role and Justin directing, expectations were sky-high. But what started as a professional partnership quickly spiraled into one of Hollywood's most shocking scandals. Blake came forward with serious allegations, claiming she had been subjected to inappropriate behavior on set. The accusations sent shockwaves through the industry, especially when they were published by the New York Times. The headlines were explosive, painting Justin as the villain and positioning Blake as the latest high-profile actress to speak out against misconduct in Hollywood. However, things didn't go as planned for Blake. Instead of rallying behind her, many began questioning her claims. Justin, rather than staying silent or issuing the usual vague PR statement, took a different approach. He fought back. He didn't just deny the allegations. He launched a full-scale legal offensive. He sued the New York Times for defamation, accusing the publication of collaborating with Blake to push a false narrative. And then, in a move that no one saw coming, he sued Blake and Ryan directly, claiming they had worked together to manipulate the media and damage his reputation. This was no longer just a Hollywood scandal, it was a full-blown legal war. The battle lines were drawn and Justin came armed with evidence. Leaked messages, behind-the-scenes footage, and internal communications all suggested that the story wasn't as clear-cut as Blake had made it seem. The public quickly became divided. Was Blake a victim seeking justice? Or was she using the power of her celebrity to frame the narrative in her favor? And where did Ryan fit into all of this? His name was now entangled in a controversy that had nothing to do with him. At least that's what people initially thought. As the lawsuits mounted, more troubling details emerged. Sources claimed that Blake had strategically bypassed the legal discovery process by filing a right to sue letter instead of pressing formal charges, allowing her to keep key details private. Critics saw this as a deliberate move to control the narrative while avoiding the scrutiny of an open court case. Meanwhile, Justin's team accused Blake of falsifying evidence, particularly text messages, by selectively editing them to support her claims. But the biggest bombshell? Some of the damning texts that Blake presented were reportedly altered, removing crucial context and even emojis that would have completely changed their meaning. Suddenly, the public wasn't so sure what to believe. And as more details surfaced, it became clear that Ryan Reynolds was far more involved in this mess than he had let on. Ryan's involvement, is it more than just a supportive husband? Ryan Reynolds has always played the role of the supportive husband, publicly praising Blake and standing by her side in every major career move. But this time, his loyalty may have backfired. Reports began emerging that Ryan wasn't just offering moral support, he was actively involved in Blake's legal strategy and had even played a behind-the-scenes role in It Ends With Us. One particularly damning claim came from a former crew member who alleged that Ryan had rewritten parts of the script without Justin's approval. Normally, actors have little to no creative control over a film's final cut, but Blake, with Ryan's influence, reportedly took matters into her own hands. According to leaked messages, she convinced Ryan to help alter key scenes, including the now infamous rooftop moment that became central to the entire lawsuit. This revelation raised serious ethical concerns. If Ryan had been meddling in the production process, how much of Blake's version of events could truly be trusted? And then there was the dragon factor. Blake allegedly referred to herself as Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones, boasting that she had her own set of dragons protecting her, namely Ryan and their close friend Taylor Swift. This added another layer of controversy. Was Blake using her Hollywood connections to manipulate the narrative and shield herself from criticism? And if so, was Ryan complicit in this power play? The more details emerged, the worse things looked for Ryan. He was no longer just a bystander in his wife's scandal, he was a key player. And now, with legal threats mounting and his own credibility on the line, Ryan faced a difficult choice. Continue standing by Blake, or start distancing himself before it was too late. The Game of Thrones influence, Taylor Swift, Hollywood power, and betrayal. If Blake Lively thought she had an army behind her, she wasn't entirely wrong. At least, not at first. For years, she and Taylor Swift had been one of Hollywood's most celebrated friendships. They weren't just casual acquaintances. They vacationed together, their families bonded, and Taylor even featured Blake's children's names in her music. Blake's connection to Taylor was a powerful asset, one that she seemed to leverage in her ongoing battle against Justin Baldoni. But there was a problem. Taylor Swift doesn't involve herself in drama, at least not when it threatens her brand. As the lawsuit escalated, fans began noticing something strange. Taylor, who had always been vocal in supporting her friends, was completely silent on Blake's controversy. In fact, insiders claimed that Taylor was blindsided when she found out Blake had been using her name as part of her legal strategy. Blake allegedly told multiple industry insiders that she had Taylor's full backing, suggesting that if the media turned against her, Taylor's influence would help balance the scales. However, those close to Taylor refuted this, stating that she had no intention of inserting herself into a legal battle that had nothing to do with her. Then came the most telling moment: the Super Bowl. Taylor, who had been attending almost every Kansas City Chiefs game to support her boyfriend Travis Kelce, had invited many of her celebrity friends to join her in the VIP suite. But Blake? Nowhere to be seen. The snub was impossible to ignore. Blake had attended previous high-profile events with Taylor, but suddenly she was left out. Fans quickly speculated that Taylor was distancing herself, not wanting her name dragged into a controversy that could damage her carefully crafted public image. If Blake was using Taylor's influence as leverage, she had clearly miscalculated. Taylor wasn't about to let herself become collateral damage in a battle that had nothing to do with her. And worse, by allegedly name-dropping Taylor without her permission, Blake had created a rift in their once close friendship. The message was clear: Taylor wasn't going to play the role of Blake's dragon in this fight. But Blake wasn't just losing Taylor, she was losing Hollywood's trust. Powerful insiders started whispering that Blake had overplayed her hand. Her reputation as the sweet, relatable actress was crumbling, and more people were beginning to see her as someone who used her connections to manipulate situations to her advantage. And that wasn't even the worst part, because as Blake's credibility continued to erode, Justin Baldoni was about to drop the biggest bombshell yet. Justin Baldoni's shocking evidence. For weeks, Blake had been controlling the narrative, positioning herself as the wronged party in a battle against a powerful Hollywood director. But what she didn't anticipate was that Justin Baldoni wasn't going to sit back and let his name be dragged through the mud. If anything, he was about to turn the tables in the most dramatic way possible, by exposing receipts that completely shattered Blake's story. It started with text messages. Blake had claimed that Justin had launched a smear campaign against her, using his media connections to discredit her allegations. But when Justin's legal team released their own messages, the story took a sharp turn. Instead of proving that he was conspiring against Blake, the texts showed the opposite. His team was scrambling to defend themselves from the accusations, fearing that Blake's PR machine was spinning the story in her favor. The most damning revelation? A message from Justin himself, where he asked his team, "How do we prove we're not doing this?" If Justin was truly guilty, why would he be worried about proving his innocence? But the real bombshell came in the form of leaked footage. Blake had claimed that a particular scene in It Ends With Us had made her feel violated because of Justin's alleged behavior. According to her, he had whispered inappropriate things to her and touched her in a way that wasn't in the script. The claim was serious, enough to turn public opinion firmly against Justin. That is, until the unedited footage was released. The raw video told a completely different story. Not only was there no inappropriate whispering or touching, but Blake herself had suggested changes to the scene to make it more intimate. The footage revealed that everything had been professionally directed, with both actors in character the entire time. This was a disaster for Blake. If she had exaggerated or outright fabricated one part of her claim, what else had she manipulated? Justin's legal team didn't stop there. They pointed out inconsistencies in Blake's timeline, her decision to bypass legal discovery, and her sudden shift in narrative when public opinion started turning against her. With every new revelation, her credibility took another hit. What had started as a case of Hollywood misconduct was now beginning to look like a calculated move to control the public's perception. And the more people doubted Blake, the more they started questioning Ryan Reynolds' role in all of this. Ryan's Wrexham drama, what's next for him? With Blake's credibility crumbling, all eyes turned to Ryan Reynolds. His once pristine public image was now under intense scrutiny. He had always been Hollywood's golden boy, the charming, witty, and seemingly down-to-earth star who could do no wrong. But as Blake's reputation collapsed, people began wondering, was Ryan complicit in her manipulations, or was he just another casualty in this mess? For Wrexham fans, the situation couldn't have come at a worse time. Their beloved club was in the middle of a crucial season, fighting for yet another promotion. But instead of focusing on the team, headlines were dominated by Ryan's personal drama, and then the rumors about his possible investment in Vancouver Whitecaps resurfaced. Was Ryan preparing to abandon Wrexham in the midst of the scandal? The thought alone sent shockwaves through the fan base. What made things even worse was the mounting criticism that Ryan's involvement in Wrexham had always been more about branding than passion for the sport. The docuseries, the social media hype, the Hollywood story arc, it all made for great entertainment, but was Ryan ever truly invested in Wrexham's long-term future? If he shifted his focus to the MLS, it would confirm what many had feared, that Wrexham was just another business venture for him, one that had now served its purpose. Ryan now finds himself at a crossroads. If he distances himself from Blake, it could be seen as a calculated move to salvage his own reputation. But if he continues to stand by her, he risks further alienating fans and business partners. No matter what he chooses, one thing is clear: his carefully curated public image will never be the same. Conclusion: what happens now? This scandal has become one of the biggest Hollywood controversies in years. What started as a legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has exploded into a multi-layered drama involving Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Swift, and even Wrexham AFC. The public is now divided. Some still believe Blake's claims, while others see this as a calculated attempt to control the narrative. Justin's evidence has undoubtedly shaken things up, and as the lawsuits continue, more shocking revelations could still come to light.